Hey, what's up, everybody? Back again for another review, and this time it's Rocky 5, right here, folks. And it was made in 1990, directed by John Avildsen, who directed the first Rocky and all three of the Karate Kids. Do I have to spell it out? Starring Sylvester Stallone, who also wrote this movie, and everybody from the last four films. Alright, let me get you up to speed on the plot. Rocky 5. Let's see, the opening sequence is footage of Rocky, is montage of Rocky 4. And after Rocky's brutal fight with Drago, he was forced to retire due to his injuries, and not only was forced to retire, he was forced to retire. Rocky ends up going bankrupt. Rocky goes bankrupt. That's where it gets worse, Rocky goes bankrupt, and thanks to Rocky's idiotic brother-in-law, Paulie, and who happens to have given power of attorney to Rocky's former accountant, who's been in some illegal activity, and that's where Rocky's money was gone, and so that pretty much sucked Rocky dry, and he had to sell his house, his cars, all of his possessions, I guess to pay his debts off, I suppose. Oh, and on top of that, this pretty much crushed Rocky Jr. Played by Sage Stallone, who happens to be Rocky's real life son. He's taking it hard, and all of this forces the family to move back into Rocky's old hometown of West Philadelphia, I think, Rocky's old neighborhood, and let's see, and we have this guy by the name of Duke, not the Duke that I like, not the bald guy that I like, not him. I like him. There's another guy named Duke, who happens to be this boxing promoter, a full parody of Don King, who's been trying to get Rocky to fight, who's been trying to get Rocky back in the ring, but Rocky's too injured to fight. So Rocky's been trying to brush him off. So this Duke has to be a douchebag, the main villain, I suppose. Tries to get Rocky to fight, but he couldn't. So Rocky reopens Mickey's gym, and training other boxers there, and training other young boxers, and one of them happens to be Tommy Gunn, who he comes across. A couple of minutes into the movie, like 20 minutes later in the movie, he comes across a young boxer, Tommy Gunn, played by real-life boxer Tommy Morrison. yeah, who Rocky, appears to brush off a couple of times, and finally decides to take Tommy under his wing, thinks it's a chance to, to gain something, to gain some measure of, respect, like he calls it. So Rocky decides to train Tommy, and we get montages of, Tommy destroying his opponents, demolishing his opponents easily. And, Tommy seems pretty cool. So far. But at the same time, Rocky's spending more time with Tommy than his own son. And that's where, the conflict, builds up between Rocky and his son. Because he's spending more time with Tommy than his own son. Who also happens to be, getting in trouble in school, having to deal with bullies and this and that, yeah. So in the next scene where another couple of scenes later, catch up to Steve here, where Tommy is being greeted by Duke. Who's a fucking douchebag, who I mentioned just moments ago was trying to get Rocky to fight, but couldn't. So he introduces himself to Tommy, who's full intent to, since he can't get Rocky to fight. So his intent is, Duke's intent is to slowly draw Tommy away from Rocky, shift Tommy away from Rocky with money, with cars and chicks, and Tommy's attracted to that stuff. Yeah, he's attracted to that shit. So, in a later scene, we see, Rocky argue with Rocky has an argument with his son. Then 5 minutes later into the next scene, he has an argument with Tommy, who turns on Rocky like an asshole. He felt like Rocky wasn't moving him up quickly. Duke's feeling all his headless bullshit about, you're gonna continue walking around Rocky's shadow, you're gonna be his puppet and this and that. Yeah, so this makes Tommy, turns on Rocky like an asshole. This is when you start not to like Tommy. Okay, so Tommy just turns on Rocky. Rocky cannot talk Tommy out of, leaving Duke. Because, what Duke's really using is, he's using Tommy. He's like, like every typical young fighter, got slime balls, like this guy, Duke. He chews up young boxers and spits them out. He chews them up and spits them out. So Tommy goes off with Duke, new trainers and whatever, Tommy has a fight with Union Kane, who Tommy wins the title from. Tommy wins because, Tommy wants a title shot. He wanted a title shot. Duke gives Tommy shortcuts. He gives him shortcuts, to getting a shot at the title. Tommy wins the title, but does not gain the respect, but loses all respect because he left Rocky. Okay. And another scene where Rocky has a where Tommy's being trashed and talked about the publicity. They're saying, you may want to fight. Yeah, let me get this. I meant to throw in that Tommy beats Kane under a minute. That's the way it looks. Tommy beats Kane under 1 minute. Really? Okay, so the publicity trashes Tommy that you'll never be you'll never be any better than Rocky. You'll never be as good as Rocky. You may win a couple of fights, but you'll never be as good as Rocky. And they're trashing Kane about being a paper champion, that he's never won the title from Rocky. Rocky, retired as champion. Rocky retired as champion. You'll never be as good as Rocky, as long as you're fighting. Okay, so Tommy, so this leads Tommy to fight Rocky. This leads Tommy to fight Rocky. Which, another scene, he confronts Rocky. He confronts Rocky to fight him. Rocky says no. Then Tommy punches out Paulie, who can't seem to shut the fuck up at times, so it seems like Tommy had to knock some sense into Paulie. So this kind of builds up to be builds up to be a street fight between Tommy and Rocky, between two former friends. And what's cool about this part is Rocky's down on the ground, you get flashbacks of Mickey, flashbacks of Drago. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and I like it. And then when Rocky beats Tommy's ass, and socks to the promoter, shuts him up. And then him and his son make amends in the movie. Alright, so that's the plot. Now, see, the acting is pretty okay. The acting is pretty decent. What I think about the acting, it's decent. And what I like about this movie, I don't know why people trash Rocky 5 so much. Why do people hate it so much? I don't hate the movie. I enjoyed this fucking movie. It's one of my favorites, actually, out of the franchise, out of the series. This is one of my favorites, along with 2 and 4 of Rocky. Yeah. So Stallone was good. Yeah, Stallone was good. Everybody was good. Everybody was great. I enjoyed the movie. Yeah, I can't see. Well, maybe there are a couple of problems. Let's see. There's a scene where Rocky's son has a fight with one of the bullies. And I'm thinking, this is what you teach your kids, that violence is okay. Violence doesn't solve anything. Violence leads to more violence, but at the same time, it indicates you have every right to defend yourself. And and one of the things that kind of bothers me when Rocky's spending way too much time with Tommy, and barely any time with his son, when his son's trying to call out for help, reach out to him for help, and Rocky kind of ignores him. That's one of the problems that I have with the movie. The movie itself, I know it's a movie, but yeah, but what can I say about this movie? I like this. What can I say about Rocky 5? I love this film. I enjoyed it. I watched this one just as much as I watched the rest of them. Yeah, and on top of that, and what do I think of the villain? Yeah, Duke. He's an asshole. He's another asshole you would love to hate. And, I kind of had some fun with this guy. I had fun hating Tommy later in the movie. Tommy seems to be pretty cool. He's just looking for a chance. To be noticed. Tommy's looking for a chance to be noticed. He just wants to be noticed. What you did? Oh, he got noticed. But later, like I say, he turns on Rocky like an asshole, and yeah. Yeah, so what I think of, Tommy Morrison as Tommy Gunn was pretty good. He was not bad. Yeah, so, so basically, the writing was decent, Also, what I meant to, before I forget, I want to bring out that, this movie also brings memories of the original Rocky. It brings, the old Philadelphia neighborhood. It brings back memories of, from the first Rocky, This is where we first met Rocky and Adrian, yeah, and, Yeah, and the pet shop store, where Adrian works at, that's where Rocky and Adrian first met. Um, it's pretty sweet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, what else can I say? What's more to say about Rocky Five? It's a good film. It's a decent film, and although it didn't feel like a 15-round slugfest, and also the hip hop songs, work for this movie. If you put I really feel that if you put Rocky's old theme in like other themes from the other Rocky films, it wouldn't work for this movie. The hip hop themes, when we see Tommy fight, where Tommy's fighting, yeah, demolishing opponents, the hip hop shit works for the film. It works for the film. I had a lot of fun with it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty decent. So I would give this film, well, yeah. So I would give this film I'll give it a 4. I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed it. And if anybody else disagrees with me, then sorry you feel that way. Hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. I like this film. This is my review. And if you have a problem with it, don't watch. If you have a problem with it, don't watch. Because I enjoyed this film. And don't worry, I have 3 more Rockies to go. I know people, you're wondering like, how come you didn't review them in order? So, big deal. Look in the bright side, I'm going to review them anyway. Okay, so that's my review of Rocky 5, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's worth the watch. You'll enjoy it. Trust me, you won't regret it. Okay? And so yeah, so what's more to say? Must see. What can I say? It's another must see film in the Rocky franchise. So check it out and let me know if you've seen Rocky, and let me know leave your comments below and let me know what you think. And if you've seen Rocky 5, let me know what you think. And like always, subscribe. And until next time, see ya.